Welcome to my show. A guest here. His name is Andrew Allemann. Mr. Andrew, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, doing really well today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Andrew, for the opportunity. Firstly, you are a technology media publisher. Can you please, Mr. Andrew, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently now, Mr. Andrew?
Sure. So I've been in kind of the media publishing business for many, many years, starting different publications and such. I actually founded podcastguest.com, which I think is how we got connected, but I sold that off a few years ago to a new owner. I have a publication in the domain name space, and then I also have a publication that we'll talk about today, which is collegeiq.com, which covers the college space.
That's very beautiful. Thank you so much for the insight, Mr. Andrew. And also, from the experience you've had, have you written any book or are you planning to write any book in the coming future, Mr. Andrew?
I don't think so. It's something I've thought about, but I haven't written one. I'm more of a short form content type of person. I don't know if I have the attention span to write a whole book. So
Exactly. Just this type of article stuff, speech stuff. Thank you so much for the insight, Mr. Andrew. Firstly, I would like
sure.
to dive to the point of chasing merit. We do know that there are a lot of ways one can get loan when it comes to student and stuff like that, but chasing merit might be another way one can definitely know. So, from your experience, Mr. Andrew, what do you think exactly is chasing merit, and how do you think it also differ from traditional college application strategies, Mr. Andrew?
Right. So there are two types of scholarships that you can get as a college student. One of those would be need based. So that's based on your family's income and your income and wealth assets. And then the other is merit scholarships, which has nothing to do with need and everything to do with how much the school wants to recruit you. So looking at your academics, extracurriculars, that sort of thing. And so chasing merit then refers to applying to a lot of schools with the hope that they will offer you a big scholarship based on who you are. Because some schools might give you nothing, other schools might give you a lot of money as a scholarship. And for families, especially those that don't receive a lot of need-based scholarships, it's really important for them if they do have, if cost is a factor, which it is for most people, is to make sure that they get some scholarships from schools and then figure out which ones they can apply to attend or which ones they can afford to attend.
That is very beautiful. That means there are also definitely two different type of it. Those that requires a lot and those that does not require any money. Someone will just definitely get that application and definitely gets the scholarship. That is very, very beautiful. Thank you so much for the insight, Mr. Andrew. And I also like to go to some academic or curriculum traits that you think students can use to stand out when they are having this type of merit award. So, what academic or extracurricular, trade makes a student stand out for this merit award? And how do you think students can also identify the hidden, hidden ways, like hidden schools that might be, have this, they are more likely to,
Sure.
get students in these merit offers, Mr. Andrew?
Sure. Yeah, so on the first question, kind of thinking about what makes you stand out. Well, certainly grades, class rank are super important. In fact, some schools will post that they give automatic merit scholarships to people that have certain GPAs. Typically, they'll combine that with a test score as well. So saying if you have this particular GPA and this SAT or ACT score, you'll get this automatic merit scholarship. So certainly those are traditional things you can do to stand out. But every school has different things they're looking for. So as far as like which extracurriculars will excite a school, it's really hard to answer because everyone has different things. Of course, they like to see leadership positions, sometimes work history, that sort of thing. But they can also look at the student's overall situation, any challenges they've had to overcome, that sort of thing. As far as figuring out which schools will offer more merit, that's one of the things that I've included on collegeiq.com, which is we call it our merit meter and our merit price. So our merit score and our merit price, where we look at, how common it is for the school to give merit scholarships and the amount. So there's some schools like Lewis and Clark. in Oregon that give basically everyone a big scholarship of 20 to $30,000 on average. So when people look at the list price there, it's kind of misleading, right? Because almost everyone gets a merit scholarship, and you can see we calculate the price that the typical student who doesn't receive need pays. However, there's some other schools, typically the more prestigious the school, the less likely they are to give lots of merit scholarships. And so we also show that data as well. But you can look at that information to get an idea on how likely the school is to give a merit scholarship. Again, the Ivy Leagues, the top 20, 30, 40, 50 schools, it's very rare for them. A lot of them, some of them give absolutely nothing in merit, like Dartmouth, but others have a scholarship that they might give to, say, 25 incoming students. And it might be a very generous scholarship that you can apply for. So if you have a very unique background, you're a very solid student compared to their overall student base, you might have an opportunity there.
Thank you very much for that insight, Mr. Andrew. That shows that there are definitely schools, from that your website, as you said, there are definitely schools that definitely give this genuine scholarship to students who might definitely apply and also get it. Thank you so much for that insight, Mr. Andrew. And also, I would like to also dive to resources, tools that you think you could recommend that could definitely help some students. So, what resources or tools do you personally recommend to help students track merit scholarship opportunities, Mr. Andrew?
Yeah, so merit scholarships. So I should say there are merit scholarships that the schools give out, and then there are also merit scholarships that scholarship groups give out. Like Coca-Cola has a famous scholarship that they give to students that you can apply to. Those are typically very competitive. Even College IQ has one that we give out a small prize each year, and a lot of people apply for these. And so I think that um, it can be challenging as a student, especially for ones that you have to apply for, maybe write an essay or fill out an application. That's a lot of work, especially when you're trying to finish your schoolwork and your college application. So I think for most students, they're looking at the colleges as being a source of those merit scholarships. And I would say most merit scholarships or most of the money in merit scholarships doesn't require doing an additional application at the school. So they look at your overall application and say, A, we'll accept the student, and B, we want to offer them some merit scholarship or discount off of the tuition. And they don't require an additional essay. Other schools do have a process, and in some cases, they'll invite you into that process based on the strength of your application. So I would say the key thing to look for when applying for the school or wanting to get school-based merit scholarships is looking at which of those are more generous than others. And the common data set that each school publishes, you can get the data from there, but it requires some math. And so that's why on collegeiq.com, we've already gone ahead and done that math for you.
That's also very, very important. As you said, each schools has the features they definitely use in getting scholarship. It's not always the same. Some might definitely just say, okay, we accept this person, then discount comes. Some might take another step. Some might be have to the person have to come, we have to ask some questions, stuff like that. It's definitely different in its own ways. So definitely one has to have this kind of trust and also know the right type of scholarship he or she needs to apply to. That is a very, very big insight. Thank you so much for that insight, Mr. Andrew. And also, I would like to dive to people who can still apply to this type of scholarship. We do have some people that might still be in school. We do have some people that have graduated. We still have some people that are also undergraduate. So, do you think chasing marriage can also, can graduate level or people? Do you think chasing marriage can still apply at graduate level or only for undergraduates, Mr. Andrew?
Yeah, in some ways, it's a bigger deal at the graduate level. It really depends on what your degree is, right? And I'm not an expert on graduate schools, but the ones that are in demand are less likely to give scholarships. Law schools, business schools, but a lot of graduate programs are they get grants and work study opportunities for students who will be doing research. Now, there's a lot up in the air with that, particularly in the United States right now, with a lot of the research funding being yanked. And in fact, a lot of students had their admissions to graduate school for next year, particularly in the sciences, withdrawn because the schools have lost their funding. So that is a difficult space right now, but it's certainly an area where there are scholarship opportunities available for graduate students.
Thank you very much for that insight. Definitely, undergraduate students can definitely get this thing, but when it comes to graduate, it might be quite, a little bit more difficult. So from your experience, Mr. Andrew, I also like to dive to your experience when it comes to students that have, in the time that we are now, there are a lot of students that develop the type of having a debt loan to go to school. Then when they are done with school, they start paying that, loan debt. So in your experience, Mr. Andrew, how do you think graduating with no student debt change a young adult trajectory in the life they have brought to themselves, Mr. Andrew?
Well, I think this is something that people have talked about a lot because I know the generation that, not the generation graduating now, but the generation that graduated, in 2000 to 2015, a lot of people graduated with significant debt. So we hear these horror stories of people that are still paying off debt 20 or 30 years later, or they never pay it off, right? They can never afford to pay it off. And a lot of that has to do with the mismatch between the degree earnings potential and the loan they had to take out. Now, in some ways, fortunately, in recent years, it's been harder for students to take out large loans. In a lot of cases, they have to be co signed by their parents. And so, depending on how you look at this, you could say it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it certainly makes families think twice before borrowing a lot of money for college. And so, I think that has kind of changed the narrative. That and seeing all these stories of people that are still paying off their college debt. I know the generation that's going to school right now, a lot of them, that's their number one concern. How can I go to college and not graduate with a lot of debt?
Yeah, it's a very, very big concern. One has to definitely plan ahead and also try his or her best to check if this loan he or she is bringing out will definitely be paid up very fast or very early he or she has come for, or definitely is something that will take even a long time. So someone has to make that plan already before someone starts to get to the point of getting loan and loan and loan, onto the point that someone will just start to pay and pay and pay until even it just gets more tiring to the point that one might not even be able to pay this loan again. So it's a very, very
Right.
important point, Mr. Andrew. Thank you so much for that insight, Mr. Andrew. And lastly, Mr. Andrew, for families who probably feel like they are stuck or they do not know what they want when it comes to this type of situations. So, what do you think you can say to families who feel stuck between what they want and what they can afford, Mr.
Mm,
Andrew?
yeah, that's a tough one. I think a lot of people still want the prestige of a big name school if they can get into it. And those schools are the ones that are less likely to give you, if you don't have financial need. Some of them are very generous with financial need, but are less likely to give you merit scholarships. And then I know there are a lot of people that feel they're stuck in the middle, right? They make enough money that they don't have quote unquote financial need, but then they don't make enough that they can also write an 80, $90,000 check a year without an issue. And so I think that that's something that each family has to go through. But one of the things I would encourage people that are just starting the college application process is to cast a wide net. So look at schools not only in your country, but in other countries as well, because the costs can be very, very different. And also look at as many schools as you can. Even in the United States, there are thousands of four-year colleges and universities. And I think most people look at just the top 50 or 100 and then the ones that are close by. And they don't look at some of these really hidden gems out there that might be a perfect fit for them. They might be very generous with scholarships or have a lower tuition cost overall that is really makes it a much more affordable experience for the students. So they're not worried about money the whole time, which, as you pointed out earlier, can be a big factor for people, not only after they graduate and they have to start paying back these loans, but during college as well.
That is a very powerful insight, Mr. Andrew. That shows that it's not just the schools that are on top that one definitely needs to check on when it comes to this chasing merit. There are a lot of places, even probably outside the countries, that are definitely more genuine when it comes to this scholarship. So someone has to explore more further, check more further. If sometimes even in my country they used to say it very well. It's just the results we normally need most of the time. Probably the name of the school. Someone might not be opportune with that situation, but the result is what really matters. So when
Mm.
someone have to check every single areas, every single schools, whether it's small or in another country, definitely if it goes with genuine and goes with what he or she wants, definitely it could be the place someone can definitely get this scholarship, this chasing merit one has been looking for a long, long time. Thank you very much for that powerful insights, Mr. Andrew. Lastly, Mr. Andrew, there's a question I normally ask during the end of the show. From the forefathers, there are a lot of beautiful things that do exist during our ancestral forefathers' time that is missing in our time today. If there is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, Mr. Andrew, what do you think that thing will be, Mr. Andrew?
I would say slowing down and not being on screens, I think would be a big thing. I think about how technology has changed so much over time, and then what opportunities there are to just relax, right? Which is something that we don't do a lot more. And I think especially when it comes to the college process, that's something that people definitely the taking a step back and relaxing is something that's often missing.
Definitely, I agree. We just need to slow down our time. Every single person are busy. Every single person are on the phone, on the laptop. I think we need to start to get connected with nature. Nature is very, very powerful. When we have nature, we have this kind of different type of soul. I used to personally believe that the body is not really programmed with this type of things that we have around us today. The body was programmed with nature, with flowers, with trees, with human, with physical connection, not with things that we have today. So we definitely need to have the slowness down, and having this kind of nature is definitely help a person in a very, very long way, even in this time that we are currently, Mr. Andrew. I also want to use this opportunity to thank you, Mr. Andrew, for the opportunity and the time you've given me to speak on this chasing marriage, this scholarship that is very, very important in our time today. Thank you so much, Mr. Andrew.
Thank you.
All right, so have a wonderful day, Mr. Andrew. Bye bye.
Bye.